Hi, everybody. I'm NBC Connecticut Storm Tracker meteorologist Bob Maxon coming to you from the Weather Lab. And with a Tuesday update, you step outside and you know it is cold out there. The wind is blowing. It'll continue to blow all day today. And we also have some snow showers around just for fun. And the bottom line, the theme of this quick weathercast will be the fact that we're going to have sustained cold day after day after day. Maybe a little respite for one afternoon, then the bottom falls out of the temperatures yet again. And when the weather pattern sets up like this, there's also the opportunity for snow. And we've had some, and we've had plenty of chill, with December coming out about 5 degrees below average. But in my eyes, we're not quite there yet, but it feels like an old-fashioned New England winter. All we need is a couple of big dumps of snow and snow plowing and shoveling and the cold and the outdoor fun that you can have, like snowshoeing and skiing and that sort of thing. It's let's see how sustained it is. Let's see what January brings. Let's start you off this morning, as we like to do, with the weather rundown. And this morning, we are having these biting cold winds out there, with wind chills down in the single digits to teens. I won't use the word frigid or bitter, because we can have colder and we will have colder. So it seems a little disingenuous to say this is bitterly cold, because when it's 10 below, that's bitterly cold. 10 above, not very comfortable. Let's put it that way. The winds will diminish a little bit tonight. We'll have a lot of clouds around tomorrow. It looks like some festive snow is possible as we're ringing in the new year. Not a lot, just a little. But overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning, a little bit of snow is possible. So with that in mind, let's take a look at live Storm Tracker Doppler radar. And you can see the fact that we do have a little bit of flurry activity that is in Fairfield County. So we can take a little zoom in there. If you're watching us from Fairfield, go ahead and check in. Good morning, Joyce. And Hank says the old saying is, baby, it's cold outside. Yes, it is. There's no doubt about that. These snow showers won't amount to much. But if you're heading out on I-84 right now, you're driving through the Danbury area and coming out of Newtown, heading to Danbury or over toward Brewster, you've got yourself a little snow squall, all thanks to Lake Ontario, of course. That's where this stuff originates from. Let's go full screen. Oh, nope, that's the wrong button. I'll figure this out someday. I really will. But get rid of my name, get rid of that, and go full screen. And you can see the fact that we do have this little snow shower activity, and we can put this into motion, and you can see how it's kind of just working its way, kind of meandering through. And even a little bit out here over Long Island Sound, right off of Milford and Bridgeport, maybe a few fluttering flurries on this gusty wind. Let's see, a couple of flurries in the Litchfield Hills. This is not uncommon for a bit of this lake effect activity to work its way here. Now, speaking of the lake effect snow, there's a big snow squall warning. Oh boy, I hope that the person who asked the question yesterday said, do we take the northern route from Pittsburgh or the southern route? And I said, go southern. Hopefully they get out of Pittsburgh before this snow squall hit, because it's snowing like crazy there. I still think 76 is a better option than 80. Neither road is much fun in the wintertime. It's such a long drive across Pennsylvania. Oh, well, I digress. Upstate New York, there's these very narrow but intense streamer of snow, and right through the Finger Lakes, around Cortland, New York, and back through Ithaca, up through Syracuse, and Oswego, Watertown. The Tug Hill Plateau is an area of elevation right in this area, and around Boonville, New York, in case you were wondering. And that area will probably pick up 3 feet of snow over the next 4 days. And that's not even an exaggeration, maybe 2 feet of snow in good old Oswego. But our weather is only partially impacted by that. So let's talk about the wind, and we have plenty of it for sure. So we have wind out there, and wind advisory for wind gusts that will continue on and off variety between say 20 and 40, maybe gusting to 45 miles an hour. Earlier this morning, we had a gust to 54 just after midnight at Tweed Airport. So there's been a lot of diversions from velo because you're not going to land with 40 or 50 mile an hour winds on that short runway. So that's not great for those folks. And the current temperatures are in the 20s. And we'll take this full screen. How about that? And I can read a couple of comments here as we move along. So there's your current temperatures. It's only 20 in Norfolk, 25 in Willimantic, 32 in New Haven. And Alexander says, good morning from Waterbury. Happy Tuesday from Tatiana. Always checks in. Appreciate that. And if I ever skip over a comment, it's not for any particular reason. It's just they come in very quickly, and I'm dealing with kind of a narrow little area with my mouse and stuff. So, good morning, Bob. Stay warm up there. Michael must be somewhere warm. Good morning from New Fairfield. April, any snow coming down in New Fairfield? There's been a few flurries nearby. I can't wait for the ice to build up on the river out back. Frozen over this morning, except one spot where we are. Neil, remind me, Housatonic River? I forget exactly where Neil checks in from and what river. Oh, the Connecticut. Well, Connecticut River. Well, Yolanda just says Connecticut. All right. Cool. Temperatures are on the cold side this morning. We have temperatures that are in the 20s. You factor in the wind, and these are the peak wind gusts. I don't know why it says yesterday by midnight, but these are some of those peak wind gusts that we've experienced in the very recent future or past. 30s, 40s, 46 Bridgeport, 54 New Haven, 41 Windsor Locks. Yeah, it's been a buffeting wind for sure out there. So let's go into future radar, and we'll kind of cruise through today with an occasional snow shower or two. Kim says, Ledyard is lovely today. Are you inside a casino, Kim? Because if it's lovely, you don't mind a wind chill in the right around 15 to 20. And Neil reminds me it is the Connecticut River. That's what I thought. So future radar showing the fact that we do have this snow shower activity coming down on these gusty northwest winds. And this is not uncommon. It very rarely amounts to much here, but it can amount to a lot in other places. These northwest winds, 20 to 40, gusting a little bit higher at times. It's nasty. It is creating a difficult chill out there. Watch out toward the word Toronto, that little locator. And what we're going to be watching is a clipper system that's going to develop, or kind of a cold front, a little bit of a little bit of weather energy is going to come through here, and a cold front. And this all happens tomorrow night into the day on Thursday. I don't expect it to be much, but watch as it forms. What we have is a jet stream that is carved out a pretty significant trough. And these little pieces of energy, and we'll just kind of signify this with a little storm system center. This will move across New England Wednesday night into Thursday. Our winds will be relaxing. This isn't a nor'easter. It's not a very powerful system at all, but you can see there's an area of light snow with it. And this is going to move across New England like this. And at the very same time, you'll see an enhancement to the precipitation right about here, which is too late for us. But watch, I'll put it into motion, and you can see how snow overspreads the area tomorrow evening. Light snow tomorrow night. Not a lot of anything. But watch how all of a sudden this area just gets a little jacked up here. This low pressure system here gets a little bit of energy and then moves up toward Nova Scotia. And again, this won't amount to much for us, but it's interesting to see how energy coming across the Great Lakes hits the Gulf Stream and hits the Atlantic and becomes a little bit more energized, because with our weather pattern not changing much over the next 10 days, the opportunity for storms like this or systems like this will become somewhat frequent. And you can see how that storm wraps up into Canada, and we're back to some cold air for Thursday, New Year's Day, Friday, highs only in the 20s, and the same idea on Saturday. So today we'll go with the partly to mostly cloudy skies, and occasionally there can be a snow shower or two. And there's those west-northwest winds, 15 to 30 miles per hour, putting that chill in the air. So 20s to lower 30s today. Always feeling colder than that when the wind hits you, just hits you. And tonight, teens and 20s, breeze still kicking around, so there'll be a bit of a chill, and tomorrow won't be as windy. So there's that setup. There's that little low pressure system that, again, will not amount to much in the way of precipitation amounts, but it'll get enhanced out here. And again, not a big concern, but if you're out driving around, let's say 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., there could be a few slippery spots. Okay. Not a lot, just a little bit. All right. So tomorrow's day planner includes a lot of clouds, but it's a much more livable day if you want to go snowshoeing or cross-country skiing, if your town still has a nice snowpack from last week's system. So you have clouds and temperatures in the upper 20s, lower 30s, not terrible. And I put out a map today. I was hesitant to do so, but you know what? It's better to probably just put this out there now, because then you can plan a little bit, just a little bit, with a coating, a dusting to 1 inch. There might be an isolated 2-inch amount. And if I were going to signify where a 2-inch amount, I would think it could probably be southeast Connecticut out this way, because of that enhancement that can happen off to our south and east. But it's fluffy, it's light, and I think it's pretty low impact. I'll be driving Wednesday night into Thursday into work, and I probably won't really encounter much of an issue. But anytime there's a coating of snow, it always will get your attention. So let's ring in the new year together with flurries and light snow, and temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s as we ring in 2026 in Hartford, of course, with fireworks. Waterbury has fireworks. New York City has all sorts of festivities. You had first night up in Boston, so much happening. And when we look at the 10-day forecast, I'm at 12 minutes, so I'm going to go just for a couple more. I got a busy day today. So 10-day forecast. Notice the temperatures. The top row, those white temperatures, are the daytime highs that we project. And I did it again. Forget I can't use my little arrow on 10-day. Sustained cold. All right. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s for highs. Now, the average high for today, seasonable high in the Hartford area, is 37. See, we're still early in winter season, late December, early January. The coldest time of year for us is later in January, early February. And then we start to sort of rebound as we start moving toward spring and vernal equinox in March. So we don't bottom out really as far as getting super cold till later in January, early Feb. And to have this sustained for the first several days of January and the new year is a little unusual, but not unprecedented or anything like that. So the cold air is in place. Fair weather, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are pretty big travel days coming off New Year's. Everybody's got to get back to work and school. And there's going to be a few issues possible next week, Monday and Tuesday. It's something we're going to kind of monitor. I'm not too fired up about it yet, but there are a couple of risks. Let's put it that way. That might be the best way to term it. A few potential risks in the 10-day forecast for next week. I'm going to take you back to live Doppler radar, and we'll kind of loop it and show you what's happening with these occasional snow showers gliding through Fairfield County, getting a few people's attention. And at the same time, we'll answer some more questions because a lot of people have been checking in. Love it. And appreciate your input and your questions, and for you tuning in here on Facebook Live, and of course, Bob Maxon's Facebook Live page, and also NBC Connecticut's YouTube stream. So there's a lot of places to find us, and if you don't find us, we're going to find you. Let's see, what else we got? We have Ledyard is beautiful. Jeff says, good morning, Burr. I agree. We need a big nor'easter, 2 or 3 feet. Stephen, how many times has that happened in your life? I mean, over 30 years, I could probably count maybe 4. Ryan would have the exact number because Ryan is a savant when it comes to weather history in Connecticut. That doesn't happen often. 3 feet is extremely rare. How about just 1 foot? Let's not be greedy. Let's look for 1 foot of snow. But I dig where you're coming from. Tori says, thanks for the update. I say you're welcome and pleasure finding you here. Anna says she loves watching me in the morning. Appreciate that, Anna. Thank you for tuning in. Robert says, good morning. Thank you for keeping me up to date with the weather. And Negra, that is the idea, right? There's a lot of information flying around out there, some of it responsible and others not so responsible. Just flip through your Facebook feed. You click on one weather forecast, you'll get hundreds. And some of them can be quite outlandish, but they're getting clicks, and that's the idea, I guess. Happy New Year. What's the deal with all the wind today, lately? This has been a question. And it's funny, Andre, I believe. Wind is a constant. And it's always, especially in these transition months of November and December, I think because of social media, like, look at, I'm on your device right now or in your living room, and people are just way more weather. What's the word I'm looking for? Aware. I bet you 2 or 3 years ago, it was just as windy. You just didn't care or didn't hear about it, or it wasn't in your scroll of information, constant scroll of stuff. So I don't think history would show us that it's that much windier. I think we're all just, I don't know. I think it's more of a sociological, if that's a word, and psychological thing. I don't think the data would really back it up. I know it seems weird, but little wind chill. It's gusty in Clinton, says Alan. I just, we don't really keep a ton of records on like average winds or things like that. So it's hard. I feel like this has been the windiest December ever. It's like March. Well, I just think, I think it's short-term memory. I really do. And again, I don't have records to back it up, but I just don't know if it has been windy. I get it. I just think we're more aware of it for some odd reason. A lot of people are talking about it, so maybe there's some validation to it, but it doesn't, I honestly don't think there's like some sort of total reason for it. We're definitely off to one of the colder starts to the meteorological winter. And when it's cold and you still have, remember all that warmth we talked about Christmas week off to our south, you still have battle zones. The jet stream is still nearby, and these systems zip in and zip out. And with that, and with the setup of the jet stream, I'm going to go back and find this setup. It is common to have wind because these systems go by and they have turned into just huge storms out over the Atlantic Ocean. We haven't had really that much storminess, but as a low pressure system goes by and encounters the jet stream and encounters the Gulf Stream and when all the pieces are there, the graveyard of low pressure systems, the graveyard of nor'easters is up in this area. And there's been some real biggies. We talk about bombogenesis and all those, words that now we seem to tag onto these things. We've had a lot of incredible development, but not in a position to nail us with precipitation, but instead it's happening out to our east, these rapid amplifications. And that, along with these kind of Arctic-based high pressure systems coming in from the west, that's what creates wind. So again, we haven't had that much storminess. We've just had a very active jet stream allowing for wind to happen. And that's not going to change. All right, there'll be times where it's breezy to windy almost through the entire 10-day forecast. So I know it feels that way, but it's hard to say, except this setup is conducive. Okay, let's see what this says. Now here, this is interesting because I like what we can go in many different directions with this. My friends out in Evergreen, Colorado, just went through 5 days with no power due to 100-mile-per-hour winds. Where is Evergreen? I think it's It's not that far from Boulder, and that's where my daughter goes to college. So I'm become more familiar. 3 counties shut to power grid off the fear of wildfires during that. It's been really warm there, and they have no snow cover to speak of. It's a terrible beginning to ski season out there. Tahoe is caught up a little bit with a couple of feet, but the Rockies are not doing well at all. Now, there's no sign of the pattern change in the next 10 days, but hopefully after that. Joan says the wind is blowing and it's very cold. I get it, Joan. It is. All right. Alan says, I knew this would come up in that 10-day forecast. You see those flying flakes. What's it looking like next week for the return to school? I think there will be some active weather. And I would say right now there's about a 30 to 40% chance of some sort of impact as far as a delay or school closing. Those storms haven't formed yet. That's energy that's probably in Siberia right now, if not, it's kind of like fairy dust, but we'll see. This wind is so windy and whistling. It's very cold. I know it is. Billy has a great comment, and I talked about this yesterday. All right, first of all, I agree. It is great outdoor hockey weather because you're sweating and you're playing. What do they call it? Shinny? Is that what they play maybe in Canada or out in the Great Lakes? I don't know the rules and all that stuff, but pond hockey is something I did do as a youth. I was a basketball player by trade, but I love hockey. It's one of my favorite things to watch because I can't do it. This is a great stretch of weather. And again, with no real end in sight, to set up those backyard skating rinks. You see this just jet stream is stubborn and persistent. For most, it gets an UGG because it's going to be cold and you got the collar up and the scarf on, kind of like an old-fashioned New England winter. But it's great for backyard hockey rinks. Now, one word of caution, we were up in the 30s and 40s yesterday, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. If the body of water you're thinking about playing some outdoor hockey on is too big, the ice probably is not thick enough unless you're up in the Northwest Hills. So keep that in mind. Usually you can get a town official to drill a hole, check the thickness. I know ice fishermen are super careful about this too before venturing out on their quad or their, in some cases, their car, right? So make sure the ice is thick enough, but I think tomorrow is a really good day for it. Today, maybe a little windy and cold for some of those hockey players. And Alan says, thank you. And I say, you're welcome. I told you I'd cut this one a little short. I do appreciate you for checking in. The main takeaways here as we go through time is that it's not going to get warm. So maybe you want to plan a trip to an island, go somewhere warm, visit friends in Florida or something, because well, actually, Florida is going to be chilling out pretty substantially here over the next couple of days. A little iguana watch for falling iguanas. So strange. Takeaway is staying cold next 10. Not bitterly cold, not historically cold. The record for today is like 18 below zero. This isn't historic. It's just persistent and, let's face it, a little annoying. If you're not a fan of cold, but you live in Connecticut and we're a cold weather state. We really are. I know it hasn't acted that way for the last several years, but this year it seems a little bit more like an old-fashioned New England winter. I'm just going to keep saying that. So the takeaway is it stays cold, and with that jet stream setup, it can be stormy. All right, there can be opportunities for East Coast storms or Alberta clippers that become a little bit more significant. Our next chance of some light snow looks to be Wednesday night, late into Thursday, maybe ringing in the new year with some festive snow. Nothing more than a coating to an inch or two tops. So, and we'll have more on that later today here on social or also, of course, on television. At 11, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. We do a lot of news, 11 p.m. too. Yeah, Greg makes an interesting comment. The governor is saying this is unusual cold. We're not going to make the cold political, but I understand why there's a protocol. And Greg is probably texting me from a warm home or office. or car. And there's a part of our society that does not have that opportunity, Greg. So it's important that the cold weather protocol is put out for those who have to find shelter to defend the cold, and that may be their only defense. So let's keep it kind. And yes, there's a cold weather protocol for a 10 to 15 degree wind chill, and there'll be a cold weather protocol when it's a 10 below wind chill. But the bottom line is it's important to get that information out. And Peter says spring can't come soon enough. Well, Peter, we will see about that. Thanks for stopping in. This is going to be pretty much a daily feature. When I'm in the office, I'll come up and chat and try to give you the near term and also the long term outlook here as we go through the winter together. But we'll be doing this even in the warm weather months when we're tracking severe weather events. I want to give you one last look here at live Storm Tracker Doppler radar. So you're seeing some flurry activity in Northwest Connecticut, thanks to the Great Lakes, a few fluttering flakes in Sharon and Kent. Whenever I bring up the town of Sharon, it's where my dog was bred, my beautiful Bernese Mountain Dog, and Guinness would be upset if I didn't mention that every time. And also a few flurries in the Great American River Valley, the Naugatuck River Valley, looks like around Shelton, getting a few flurries, and also Ansonia and Monroe and that sort of thing. So not a lot, just a little curiosity snow in the air. Chris says, happy holidays. I'm right back at you, buddy. Appreciate that. Lucy says, thank you. And Joan says, thank you for your time and forecast. Have a great day. And I hope all of you have a great day as well. See you tomorrow.